Hi, friends. Host Eric here, host of Talking with Famous People. Yes, I'm back live streaming again. I might say, Eric, didn't you get enough live streaming last night when you live streamed for all night? No, I didn't. So that answers that question. Um, what does this title refer to? 90% build up, 10% let down. So I had a thought in the shower a little while ago as the best possible description of Leo from actualize.org. 90% build up, 10% let down. Of course, I don't mean myself. I'm 100% climax all the time. But Leo at actualize.org is either building up something that he's going to reveal, right? Or letting you down when his revelation is utterly stupid. 90% build up, 10% let down. Jeremiah picks Boba Fett. Let's get you two married and renamed Jeremiah Boba Fett Fix. And just have one name for the both of you from this point forward. You'll be like Brangelina. You've always wanted to be like Brangelina, and now's your chance. So I decided to start live streaming again because I I I checked on Rachel a few times to see if she'd gone to sleep yet. I don't want to bother her when she's sleeping, but obviously I can't really work around this. Like, not that it's a persistent problem, I don't think. I think it links mostly to a confluence of specifics. But obviously, I have to be able to make live stream level noise downstairs and have it successfully not bother Rachel upstairs or not bother her enough for it to be a problem. Obviously, I have to be respectful in terms of like, don't plug in the guitar when she's sleeping, kind of stuff. Try not to be too loud, but sort of the talking, sometimes laughing, sometimes being kind of loud, part of the live streaming. That's just, I don't think I can figure out any accommodations there really. Like, Eric's got to be Eric, and Rachel's gonna have to figure out some way to sleep successfully while I'm talking downstairs. I and the going into the master bedroom is not a good solution to that because I'm gonna be going in and out of the garage, and every time that door closes, it's gonna be loud. It makes most sense for her to be upstairs when I'm making noise downstairs. The thing is, though, it may not make most sense for her to be in the day room sleeping, which is right above me. She'd probably be better served to sleep in the blue room. We'd probably have less difficulties from this, I guess. Not that we've had difficulties from this before that I remember. She probably failed to report problems with this on multiple occasions because, she doesn't want to be troublesome or whatever. Um, but anyway, I believe she's sound asleep now. And the problem can be summed up as simply as this. adjusting for variables like Adderall, whatever. My evaluation of the last like 6 months or so is that the medication that used to reliably put her to sleep is no longer effectively putting her to sleep. It doesn't mean that she's spinning into mania, staying awake forever. It just means that you're taking some kind of sleeping pill, right? Or something to make you go to sleep. It's not supposed to work 8 hours after you take it. So, in that regard, she needs to talk to Dr. Ingram and just say, like, okay, these drugs aren't as effective anymore at putting me to sleep. Uh, my sleep schedule keeps shifting later and later, but it's like she she actually falls asleep later, gets up later, but she doesn't change when she goes to bed. So obviously, it's very frustrating if you're going to bed and tossing and turning for 7 or 8 hours. Like she wants to be in full, like I decide control of her sleep. But I don't know if you can really have that, right? To a certain extent, you have to stay awake when you're not sleepy and not try to go to sleep. Still, this is incredibly minor stuff I'm quibbling about here. I'm not trying to suggest it's a real problem. Just what I'm thinking about right now. So let's all hope and pray for a glorious new spring. It brings along with it resolution to all of our problems collectively. Good gig at pub, Eric. Big farmer profits. Well, I mean, the point is Jeremiah Picks and Cone Man 3 that when was it? Like February of 2020, right? Rachel was still had untreated mental illness. It was not completely treated, right? It was sort of controlled. And the the components of bipolar mania are such that um, you could articulate it as basically a sleep disorder. So I got to experience Rachel improperly medicated, but more medicated than nothing. I got to experience her completely unmedicated. And then I got to experience her medicated properly. And it was like a light switch. Bam. Um, she went from managing an active mental illness to that mental illness being completely in remission. And that trifecta of drugs, which is olanzapine, Prozac, and Klonopin. Well, the olanzapine and Prozac together are known as something of a magic bullet for bipolar mania. Thank God for Big Pharma. We should all say that because You know, it's the difference between Rachel living a real life and spending her entire life locked up in an institution. It's that cut and dry. It's that critical to her being able to live her life. So, I know that we love to find boogeymen, this kind of corporation, that kind of corporation, whatever, but we need to remember that actual humans' lives are on the line here. Not every big pharma product is as delightfully unnecessary as this one. And if you think somehow like actual mental illness can, oh, you just need this holistic bullshit or whatever, then you need to pull your head out of your ass as quickly as possible. You could not be more wrong and more offensively and just like catastrophically wrong in a way that's contributing to the ontological assault of anybody who has a mental illness. So, you're definitely barking up the wrong tree there, Coonman. And there's not a single person on the planet who should disagree with that. What do you think? You aren't currently suffering from measles, mumps, rubella, polio, chicken pox, etc. All thanks to Big Pharma. Aren't they grand? Yes, they are. For example, Coon Man, have you considered taking Skyrizi? I've been looking at their commercials, and the people on Skyrizi seem really, really happy. Or, if you prefer, if Skyrizi is not your cup of tea, Coon Man, may I recommend to you some Jardiance? Or you can join me in my 2024 New Year's resolution, get blotchy. We can get some of that blotchy cream. They have that cream for those blotchy people. They're supposed to put it on their blotches and it blends in with their not blotches. I want to do the opposite. You and me, come in. We're going to get some of that cream. We're going to create blotches where there are none. That way we can take full advantage of the wonderful things that Big Pharma is offering us. But I know that there's still plenty of like awareness raising to be done in this area. Like probably a lot of people, probably maybe Cone Man, thinks that like they can understand mania by referencing their own manic stretches. Like, sure, I get manic sometimes in a colloquial sense of the word, right? Do get all gacked out and blah, 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 right? But make no mistake about it. Our co opting of that term for sort of casual use is fine, but that kind of mania bears zero resemblance to actual clinical mania, which is a genuine mental illness. It's not a disorder or something like borderline personality disorder. It's not a um, like a syndrome or something. It's it's a genuine mental illness that either you're crazy because it's untreated or you got the right drugs and you're fine. Is electrotherapy to brain a good treatment? I don't think so. It's also, I would point out, not a pharmaceutical. Well, look, yes, big pharma is motivated by profit. Fortunately, the most profitable thing they can do is make good drugs that work. Crazy, huh? Yeah, olanzapine's expensive. I mean, it's not currently for us where we're getting it for some reason. But we were paying like a close to like $300 a month for it. Um, but don't say, "Oh my God, how can that pharmaceutical company charge so much money for olanzapine?" Say, "Oh my God, what an incredible bargain! A woman's life for $300 a month, and we only pay 30 a month for it now, for whatever reason." Well, I know what the reason is. We don't have insurance. That's why. You know, it's like those Bangladeshi sweatshops. People freak out about it and be like, "Oh, there's a horror in the capitalism." Stop telling those poor Bangladeshi people that they have to go back to their less preferable alternative than the sweatshop. Sorry, the sweatshop's not good enough for you, so go back to your even shittier existence. It's the comedic tragedy of dumbness, you know? If people think they're helping, they just end up like getting all these Bangladeshi people who desperately need these jobs fired. They think they think they're helping because they don't like the working conditions. I wouldn't work under those conditions. I'm not going to let this Bangladeshi person do it either. Talk about needing to check your fucking privilege. Well, I don't need to take a lot to pay, so I must be bullshit. I'm not arguing against any point that anybody's making. I'm saying, you know, I'm pointing out that the mechanics of Mia is equivalent to the mechanics of Mia. There are people who rail against sweatshops, right? You're not disputing that that occurs. I'm just pointing out the mechanics of the thing. So, what you're trying to do is pretend my point is something other than what it is. So, I know the big lie about statins. Well, I guess it would be that the big lie is that all of them have fairies. In actuality, it's only Staten Island that has a fairy. I do know this though, Conrad. If you tell me it's the big lie about statins, I can reasonably infer that, in fact, probably nobody's lying. They're just lacking intuition as usual. You know, it's like regarding COVID, Note that even though everything we did was horribly wrong and ill advised and terrible and bad, the media didn't lie to us about stuff. COVID was a real thing. It was uniquely contagious. It did have the incubation period, they said. Um, when they reported a 4% fatality rate, that was technically accurate if you choose to be the hugest idiot in the world and not notice the fact that the methodology is horribly flawed. But, given the fact that they were accurately reporting the numbers that they had at the time without making the appropriate caveats, but nevertheless, we were not lied to about it. What we learned from this is that we don't have to be lied to to en masse agree with this horribly bad idea. People are inclined to agree with horribly bad ideas without even the slightest bit of encouragement. So obviously, you don't need to lie to them to get them to agree with some horribly bad idea. If you lie to people, they're less likely to agree with you. Cone Man thinks that things he doesn't agree with are lies. I'm guessing. Like, I get it. You think that the message, on statins is wrong, but who's lying exactly? You're giving people way too much credit. Evolution's bullshit. I think there are very few evolutionary scientists who are lying about it. They're just not very smart. And they just can't figure out why they can't finish figuring this thing out. And they just keep begging the question and assuming their premise is right. They just need to debug the mechanics of it more. They're en masse horribly wrong, but I think very few of them are lying. And it's important to distinguish between wrong and lying, you know? I think the smarter ones are recognizing like we don't seem to be able to draw any meaningful distinctions between genetics and evolution. We can't establish this at all. We can't even establish genetic clock. I'm sure some of the smarter ones are like have this pit in their stomach every morning and they wake up and they're like, I'm a professor of evolutionary science, but I can't explain it because that doesn't make sense. Oh, there's got to be some of them out there, but probably far and few between. You get an ESTJ who's really good at the trees and has no concept of forests. Well, they they just continue digging through genetic stuff and pretending like it establishes things about evolution and just keep begging the question, never wake up to what they're doing because that requires more intuition than they have. So, yeah, in every single instance, all other things being equal, it is vastly more likely that people are dumb and or wrong than that they are lying or evil. I mean, look at you, Cone Man. You're horribly wrong about countless things, but I don't think you're lying. I'm quite confident you're not lying. Okay, there. I know. I've been a little bit busy fiddling with things here and not paying attention to the chat. It's a bit of an undertaking here to pack this right. You know, it doesn't just pack itself, everybody. You gotta you gotta put in the work if you want to enjoy the twerk. That's the old saying. All right, this bowl should be reasonably well set up at this point. Because obviously we're trying to prevent clogs that I'm anticipating before they happen. Even though I know that's a fucking pipe dream. This thing is so cloggy. I guarantee you this bowl will clog. Even though I did all that prep work. I do like Cone Man. Of course I like Cone Man. Cone Man's interesting. He says provocative things, which is to say, another way of saying it is this. When you express a certain either wrong idea, as it is, or demonstrate what's wrong about an idea with something else you say that's wrong or whatever, well, that's very easy for me to work off of. What do I need to explain? Well, here's one example of a wrongly voiced understanding. Maybe a wrong understanding, but definitely a wrongly worded explication. I'll correct there. That's easy work to do. I don't have to look bigger picture. I just have to note that's wrong. Let me correct it. So I do like Conan, absolutely. Obviously, because how much time do I spend responding to things he says? I appreciate being given things to respond to that provoke my interest. So, well, that's not to like. Coneman's not even toxic at all. I'm clearly the more toxic of the two of us in our relationship, me and Coneman, right? I don't mean in general, but Coneman's a very peaceable person, not trying to be difficult, not trying to piss me off or whatever, just trying to engage with ideas as he wants to. I like that about him a lot. His provocation is authentic and natural. It's not trolly at all. So good job, Coonman, for not being a troll and still being provocative. Like, Cone Man is not Cloud, you know what I'm saying? Cone Man is a much healthier and more reasonable version of what Cloud manifested toxically. Eventually, not the whole time, but and Cone Man deserves kudos for that. Like, he's the bigger man here. He's coming in here trying to have a pleasant conversation with me. Trying to be a nice, agreeable fellow or whatever. Get along with the people in the community. I, on the other hand, can't read a single thing he says without saying, no, that's wrong. So, give the man his due. while he's provocative from my perspective, I'm clearly the one who's bringing the negation here. He's not spending his time negating me. He just gets caught up sometimes in responding to my negations of him. Understandable. Nobody likes to be negated all the time. So like, if I were coming, I'd be like, Jesus Christ, is there not a single thing I can say that Eric doesn't have to correct? And you'd be right. Well, yeah, I seem to correct a lot of things you say. I get that that's not a good way to win friends and influence people. I don't know what I would say in my defense. Well, I guess in my defense, what I would say is I spent serious years working hard to seriously understand cognitive functions. And because, from my perspective, you prefer a paradigm in which cognitive functions are mushy, I'm like, hey there, uh, you may have spent various times studying cognitive functions, whatever, but I've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours actually typing people and developing a rigorous approach to things, validating uh, not just say correlates, but that the test itself is as valid as I can check it to be. I cross check potential. Well, I test potential ideas I think might link to meow in typing sessions multiple times once I've already determined what type they are or something. I know they're meow type, but I remember, or even if I don't, but eventually I will. I remember, oh, I wanted to test this question that somebody suggested or whatever. I'll ask it and not really be sure exactly what it's testing, but have a hypothesis that it's testing meow for meow reason. And at the end of the typing session, they'll be like, oh, okay. Well, I'll be like, oh, okay, you're this kind of type or whatever. And then later on, I remember that question. And I go, so was that consistent with my hypothesis or did it falsify it? And those are the two options, right? It can be consistent with it or it can falsify it. It can't prove it. But with enough consistencies and zero falsifications, you can start to feel pretty confident about certain things. Who likes Johnny? I do. Yeah, we do disagree on a lot of stuff, but who doesn't in this world? Find me two people who actually agree on shit. You certainly are not the only person here who disagrees with me. I don't know if there's a single person here who doesn't, about some element of cognitive functions, believe themselves to be more correct than me. I should note, in every such instance, they are wrong. Until an example proves otherwise. But what has McGibbs to that? I can't spend my whole life a fussing and a fretting about cognitive functions. Fussing only, fine. Fretting only, fine. Both concurrently is simply too much for me. I don't know a single person I agree with everything on. Well, obviously, there's plenty of disagreement between people about if you survey everything, right? Um, but it's certainly possible to agree with someone completely about a certain thing. For example, Mr. Samuelson, he maintained the position that schools were doing a bad job of teaching grammar and they should never have gotten rid of sentence diagramming, and that sentence diagramming and his specific approach to incorporate with sentence diagramming basically out loud scripts of reasoning that goes along with the sentence diagramming. But regardless, that sentence diagram is the best way to teach grammar. I agree with him 100% on that point. I further agree with him 100% that he's doing it exactly right. And that 100% that I can best teach grammar by teaching it exactly like he does. Oh, I might put a cherry here or something there, add a little zest or pizzazz that is absent from his fairly like Victorian era approach to education. It's not. It's like, what world did you grow up in, dude? That you that you internalized this approach to education. But anyway, I agree with him 100% about teaching grammar and all the details of it. I might be additive of something, but it's not in disagreement with anything extant. And it's a more complicated question than you'd think. Like, what's the best way to teach grammar? First, you have to ask, like, well, is there a single best way to teach it? Shouldn't it be individuated to different students? Maybe, yeah. Well, so the reason I agree with them in full is because I've asked and answered all those questions. I mean, I was working as a teacher for Mr. Samuelson, and that's when I learned English grammar. Keep in mind, I had graduated from college with a degree in English, but I didn't learn English grammar until Mr. Samuelson taught me how to teach it his way. That's when all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's how you understand grammar? I get it, obviously. Now I have purposeful questions to ask about it. It doesn't seem arbitrary anymore. Everything makes sense. What's the plural of sponge? Spongy. How come you didn't learn grammar? Because nobody knew how to teach it. It gets taught as a bunch of things to memorize. But real grammar is about one job specifically: determining how each word in a sentence is working, and thereby what its part of speech is. Sentence diagramming introduces grammatical concepts as additional components to add onto a diagram. So you start by diagramming the most basic sentences, show how that basic structure applies to the central basic part of every sentence. It's going to be in every sentence, right? And then how, as sentences get more complex, there are different structures coming off of that central structure that do different things in a sentence. For example, like a noun clause working as a subject. There might be an adverb clause. It's a dependent clause with a subordinating conjunction, and it has its own structure. And because the way sentence diagram works, it's very easy to then understand the relationships on multiple levels. You can visually see the relationships, like, oh, this clause here is coming down from here. That means it's modifying this in some way or linked to it in some way. What kind of clause is it? And you can figure out everything like that, right? It's by far the best way to teach grammar. I mean, I agree with you in general, Conan, that teachers are terrible learners. But I would make this important point first. Teachers, by and large, 95% of them, before they are terrible learners, they are terrible teachers. So I wouldn't just highlight the fact that you can't teach a teacher anything because they're terrible learners. I would also highlight the fact that they can't teach anybody else anything because they're terrible teachers. Most education in American schools is like, there are a lot of fiefdoms in which, impassioned women with opinions about whatever tries to instill that in her students as though she were teaching them something. And what I really want to do is I want to see you just really just show me your authentic selves in this essay. Just really be you, be free. What in the fucking world are you teaching? You're not teaching anything. You're just sharing your worldview. The orderly world of grammar. Let me take a look with my looking fingers. The orderly world of grammar by Eric Strauss. Alec swaps. I'll put it in quotes then. You assy Google. Don't be such an assy Google. Where is it? Where is it? There, no. Where is it? Where is it? Where is the thing? Where is it? Where is it? Can you help me learn to sing? Where is it? It said on your Google search result that it was here, but were you lying? How's that? No, 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 no. Oh, there it is. The Orderly World of Grammar. Buy on Amazon. No, 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 no. I want the PDF. I guess I'm going to have to search my own hard drive for this. All right. Very well, then. That is what I shall do. I'm going to put the word orderly. And I'm going to shift the kind of file to be a PDF. Wait, we don't have that choice. Document. This is a document. PDF's a document. I'd like to be a little more specific than document, which presumably would make the search faster. I do have it on my hard drive somewhere, or if not in Google Drive, maybe, or something like that. I think. Yeah, I got it somewhere. I don't know. I'm not sure if there's a PDF available on, right, from the Google search is that there's not a free PDF of it available online. So maybe I have a PDF of it, in which case then I can make there be a free PDF of it available online. On the other hand, should it turn out that rather than having a PDF of it, I do not have a PDF of it, well, at that point, things become a little bit too difficult, probably. I have to like look and wow, yeah, it'd be a bit of a dig. It's not on my. I mean, I could Google it. I mean, I could search my Google Drive for it as well. It'd probably be faster searching than my hard drive search, which of course is very slow. And I learned that like my laptop can't handle 200 megabytes of internet. I can only handle up to 100. Unless I get a firmware update. Firmware update, schmurmware update. Like, enough with your firmware. Give me some wishy-washy wear. The last thing I need in life is more firmness. Computer, you're so slow at searching yourself. Let me just search here and see what's in here anyway. Orderly. Ah, look at that. I do have it. That's so much faster than searching my yeah. Share. Anyone with the link. Copy link. And meow. Okay, now I did copy link. Now go over here, push the meow, twist the nozzle, yank the chain, insert the bunion, click the live stream, push the pause, and then at long last, provide the link. Da 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 da. There is the Orderly World of Grammar PDF for your PFD, which stands for Pretty Fun Dance. Nozzle Tov. Tozzle Love. Is it copyrighted? Did I copyright it? What does it mean that I wrote the word copyright? Yeah. It's not like I filed for some sort of paperwork or something. Just like, oh my, you can't tell. But turns out I'm perfectly fine with people stealing it all they want. Like Amazon has the book for sale, but they don't pay me anything. Go figure. I guess it's not new, right? They must have used copies, that's why. Like, they have a PDF of one of my things for sale that I have available for free. Gospel of the Pantheon. Amazon is selling Gospel of the Pantheon, which is a PDF I made available for free to people. I guess Amazon's reasoning is, well, hey, if you're just going to let anybody take this, then that means you should be fine with us selling it. After all, you're handing it out for free. So we can get people to pay for it. No skin off your back. You can't articulate any losses. Well, okay, fair enough, Amazon. But but really though, right? You're selling the PDF of my book, and and the reason that's fine is because even though it's copyrighted, I'm distributing the PDF of it for free. Now, if I was trying to profit off of it, then if you were profiting off of it, then you'd have to pay me something, right? But since I'm not trying to profit off of it, you can and don't have to pay me anything. It makes sense, actually, It makes perfectly good sense. I just think it's like, wow, really, Amazon? You guys, I know you guys just have this sort of automated thing that said, go get every free PDF and let's sell it. Who knows? Maybe somebody will buy it. And that's not dumb. It just makes me roll my eyes at you a bit. It makes me wonder how eBay you are. You don't want to be eBay, Amazon. I granted, selling the PDF I give away for free is a long ways from mailing someone a box of live cockroaches. So maybe my comparison was irresponsible. But you know what? If it weren't for irresponsibilities, I wouldn't have any responsibilities. It's a variation on the It might be Giants lyric. If it weren't for disappointments, I wouldn't have any appointments. Which is better than my variation on it. I did write it in a book. Well, if you want something that's philosophically more deep than Dostoevsky, you should do the exercises in my grammar book. now that's now that's philosophy. It really is. Grammar is it. It makes sentence diagramming and kind of understanding the grammar really opens language up. And you go, oh, now this stuff all makes sense. And because sentence diagramming is so TE, and the whole thing is so TE, it's ordinated, very step by step. Even though grammar parsing is naturally a TI activity, TE people can do it. I mean, like TI poor is going to struggle some, but if they apply themselves to the TE, it'll work. And Mr. Samuelson himself was an INFP. I'm interested. I'm very interested, Ruben. Ruben notes that Billy Joel is releasing a new album for the first time in several decades, February 1st. Cool, interesting. Um, it's so early yet so sleepy. well, maybe either make it later or less sleepy. Those are my possible solutions for you. Every type has ideal situations for their mindset, but outside that, it causes problems. We're like unitools, not Swiss Army knives. I agree with I agree with at least the spirit of everything you say there. Well, you can't alter your psychology for every situation, but with an adequate and correct understanding of cognitive functions, provided you're mappy enough, you can be informed sufficiently about your deficit areas to know perhaps when to delegate to somebody else. You're never going to be able to get yourself to pay attention in the right way to the right situation, but you might be able to, over time, learn, oh, this is one of those instances of that kind of thing that's triggering this. I understand it is this way, but it's because it's hitting in a deficit area. I don't quite understand it because it is a deficit area, But I know enough to defer to Mia, who doesn't have that deficit. That's really the best you can do, I think, in terms of explicitly or consciously, overtly uh, managing that kind of thing. I think by and large, it's much more the case that your ability to have a non traumatizing relationship with your so called weaker functions is is predicated on circumstances. That if your circumstances are sufficiently good to you, like not just say lower level stuff like you have some place to stay and food and whatever, but that the people around you, by and large, genuinely love you for who you are, and you're not encountering a lot of ontological assault. The world's not asking of you a lot of things or demanding of you a lot of things that aren't in your attentional wheelhouse. Then the things that aren't in your attentional wheelhouse are are safe to consider, like, we'll put it this way: the more assault you're under, and almost everybody's under some amount of assault, like, in some ways life is both unfair to them, unkind to them, and asking of them stuff they just cannot do in a sustained way. They just can't either know, determine, do, or engage that way in a sustained way, right? So basically, the more you're subjected to that, the fewer instances you'll see of an individual spending time attending via their weaker unconscious function, weaker and or unconscious functions. Uh, Remembering that there's a finite amount of time in the day, and you're going to spend a number of minutes. It's hard to break down the exact way you would calculate this because uh, obviously functions work in conjunction with each other a lot. But if you could establish that of the 12 hours, let's say you're awake on this day, that you spent 11 of them incorporating either exclusively or in conjunction with something else extroverted intuition. Well, then what I'm saying is, in the absence of trauma, or in the absence of ongoing, like, rejection of by the world, for I need a good term for this general sense of, like, the many different ways that the world says there's something wrong with you, either by expecting stuff from you that you can't possibly do because it's not within your attentional capability, or those other things I said, right? I need a general term for that. It's better than like ontological assault or any of those things. Anything that just means like butt fuckery. I guess that's the best word for it. Butt fuckery. Teetering on the brink of law. I'm teetering on the brink of law, but I'm still not lawing at all. I'm just LOing inside my head. Yeah, I sleep a lot, but not lately. Like the last 4 or 5 days, I've been a bit of a stay up stand. But last night's the first night that I actually got 0 hours of sleep out of all those nights. Do I ever stop talking? When I'm sleeping. Briefly, in between sentences, you know. They say talk is cheap, but it costs me all my time. It's true. But, not everybody uses it like that. So some people may understand their struggles, others may attempt to define their struggles. Depends on your relationship with language. Does language serve you or do you serve language? I serve language. Language doesn't serve me. You might say, well, Eric, you're using language in service of yourself in some sense of the word or whatever. That's not really what I mean. I mean, like, um, if language serves you, then the words you're saying are intended to produce the outcome you want them to produce. Whether it's acquiring you a loaf of bread from the drive-through bagelry by ordering at the window, the drive-through microphone box. May I please have a loaf of bread? Well, that kind of language is clearly instrumental. Yeah. But now I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, right. In that instance, clearly, the language is there to serve you. It's to get you a loaf of bread. But for me, and not explicitly transactional expressions of language. Uh, my purpose is to maximally attain results with the tool aspect of language. Not to serve me, but to to produce something that will survive scrutiny on its merits when I'm not around, right? Which is to say, later on, if you wanted to determine if I'm correct or if I made any mistakes, at least, right, in my reasoning, explanation, or whatever, that stuff that doesn't make sense, you could re listen to it, scrutinize it, play it multiple times, take notes if you felt like it, and then make a sort of rigorous determination about whether or not I'm making sense, provided you pay attention in that kind of deliberative fashion, either well enough and spend enough time at it, or well. So, like, I'm not sure if I fully expressed what I was getting at there or not. I'm pretty tired, kind of like spacey, like absent-minded. I don't mean I'm like Spacey the guy. I mean I'm like Spacey like absent-minded. Like for example, he is wrong about cognitive function of typology. In contrast, I am correct. But you know who's on my better bust out my wagging finger again? I think you know. I think you know who needs to be wagged at. Who needs to be the recipient of a good wagging. His name rhymes with Pike Part. Oh, you want some cutlets, huh? All right, I'll give you some cutlets. Cutlet hound. A cutlet hound is anything that's always hounding after cutlets. Yeah, come and get your cutlets. Come and get your delicious cutlets. Yes, you love them. Oh, so much. Look, get in getting the chocolates. Oh, yeah. He's just digging right in. He's saying, oh, fuck yeah, cutlets. It's been a few days, I've gotten kind of haphazard about. It's been like 2 days anyway. About putting out cutlets. I don't put them out as often as I used to. Sometimes I just put them over on the gravel. They could get down there and eat it on the gravel, it's fine. But today, since he was waiting right there and patting his little paw, telling me, get me some cutlets, I figured I might as well just put them where it's easy for him to get them. Even though I prefer to put it on the gravel because it kind of makes a mess when it suits there. Okay, I really 120 trilly have to pee. Like, if I don't pee soon, I'm gonna die of urine overflow. Urine overflow is a sometimes fatal condition in which a person has to pee too much. Instead of going pee, they just suddenly die. Hi. I'm here going door to door today to raise awareness about urine overflow. Before you stop me, did you know that you could die instantly if you have to go pee pretty bad? I didn't think so. That's why we're here today to talk about urine overflow. Yes, that was the sound of me. Because as we're having this conversation, man, I am making urine and I'm attempting to make feces as well. That's all part of the urine flow reality that we all live in now. Scientists just discovered this phenomenon, and they've asked us to go door to door to warn everybody about it. Some people are calling it the modern age's spontaneous combustion. Because of the way that people instantly die. Not because it's bullshit, and not because they both have being lit on fire in common. They don't both have that in common. Only spontaneous combustion has that. So don't fool yourself, girl. All right. Now, have I completed my bathrooming? Yes, I have. Do I feel tired? Yes, I do. Is that why I'm still sitting here? Yes. Because standing up sounds like something of an endeavor. Well, I'm gonna hope with my hoping heart that hope will provide a hopeful light to my hoping time. Hope I'll get up from the toilet soon. Alright, right now, make hope into reality. I turn your hope into everyone's reality. Here at Hope Changers. You know how you go to the airport and you turn your dollars into some foreign currency? We're like that here at Hope Changers. Except we turn hope into reality. Case study 1. Mary. She hoped for a wonderful husband and a family. Look, fast forward 3 weeks. Judy's gone from single and childless to married with 3 children. That's the power of connectivity. Why am I here? Getting more coffee. That's why. Boy, my stomach feels kind of grumbly though. It's a harder grumble, grumble, grumble. I'm gonna grumble at you, grumble. That's what it's saying to me right now. We'll have to see how serious its grumblings get. On a scale of 1 to grundle, how bad does my stomach grumble? Currently, fortunately, it's not that close to grumbling. More like a 2, 1.9. Maybe this coffee will worsen it, but it seems too delicious not to have. I'm gonna err on the side of deliciousness. But what I'm gonna do to counteract the acidic qualities of the coffee, I think. I've got a plan here, everybody. I think you're gonna like my plan. I think you're gonna agree with my plan. I think you're gonna wish it had been your plan. Well, it's not your plan. So get over it. What is my plan? I don't remember. What was it talking about? Probably goals. Goals, staying disciplined, persevering through consistency, and a steady mindset. Work smarter, not harder. Keep your eyes on the prize and your feet on the ground. I read that on a poster one time. I thought, wow, that's really insightful. It turns out that I miss all of the shots I don't take. I also read that on a poster. One of the best posters I ever read. Bro, wanna smoke? Yeah, sure. I'll full bomb rip. That sounds like a good idea. I appreciate people coming in with good, clear, concisely stated ideas. That's real insight. It's informative. It's empowering. It shows a deep empathy for me and the rest of humanity. So, to you, M.A., gracias and thank you. And for our deaf friends, thank you very much. What do you mean he's not a real sign language interpreter? The guy I hired is not a real sign language interpreter? I mean, when I talked to him, he certainly sounded like a real deaf person. I should vet them better? Why should I? Who knew I had to vet a. I get. Yeah, I did. I remember the Africa thing, but we're not in Africa. So, is it just his sign language? It's fake, or is his deafness fake as well? He's not even deaf, huh? Well, he sure fooled me. I didn't fool you. I am a real fake deaf person. Yeah, well, I think you left out the fake part during the during the hiring process. He didn't listen to Bo's song request nor mine. Who, me? When were they made? I don't even have my guitar inside the house right now. It's outside in the car. Sure, I could get it easily enough, but I can't really play the guitar right now. Rachel's sleeping. And I already got in trouble for bothering her last night, so. No, I don't. I have for other people, I just work intuitively or do things as they come without a plan. Maybe a list of what's to be done overall, but it's not exhaustive nor prioritized. No. Yeah, that's kind of exactly how I would work when I had to be at work all the time. But toss in there, spend plenty of time Googling random shit. Fine. Okay. I spent like 45 minutes of this hour Googling this shit. I better start doing some actual work here. I wish I had taken the approach of look, Eric, just make yourself do 10 minutes of work every hour, you'll be fine. But I didn't take that approach. I just would go, you know, be it procrastinating, Paul. I nevertheless managed to get all of it done. So, whatevs. KE is all the types, apparently. Earlier during a stream, Caroline requested you listen to a song you made. I was probably too much on mushrooms that moment, Caroline, to, if it was the last stream, to notice what was going on in the chat. Sure, I'd be happy to listen to it. Kala Salai. I'm most times just an agreeable ENTJ. I'm gonna not read those things you say out loud, KE. I don't wanna do them the service of having them be vocalized. You are eliciting such a sad head shake from me. Little Miss Rebel Pants. That's what I should call you. Constantly trying to rebel against my 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 heartfelt and virtuous wisdoms. Well, listen here, KE. You don't need to be old James Deany, all right? I've got all kinds of things. There's not a reason for you to rebel against them. What are you rebelling against? What do you got? Let's see. Society, church, peers' expectations, parents' expectations. Go on. Um, Gender norms, is it broadly under societal expectations? Yeah, you're not really informing me beyond the scope of the general set name there. Okay, fair enough. I don't know. Those kind of things. Those are in the world. Oh, that's from upstairs. It sounded like a car door. I hope I'm not in trouble for bothering her again. Hi.
Hello.
Am I bothering you again?
No, you're not. You woke me up.
Alright, cool. The only type I know I'm not is ENTJ. Oh, well, that's a good one to know you're not. I also know that I'm not ENTJ. I know I'm not a lot of things. I'm not a mailbox. I'm not a path to peace in the Middle East. I'm not a helicopter tour of Yosemite. These are things I am not. I'm a lion inside my heart of hearts. Really? Does that mean you have a lot of pride? Is that what that means, Kay? Okay, here we go. Just relax, baby. Relax. Just let it just ease up. Just relax those resistors here. Just gonna there we go. Oh yeah. Just straight on through to the other side, as per the immortal words of Jim Morrison, poet of a generation. Who so poignantly asked, do you love her madly? Who so poignantly noted, LA woman. Who so poignantly sung, What's that Catch on Fire song of theirs? what's that? What's the Doors song? It's about them catching on fire. Anybody remember? Come on, baby, light my fire. There you go. In the words of the immortal poet, one of the greats of all time, Jim Morrison, come on, baby, light my fire. As moving, as meaningful, as powerful today as it was when it was first written 430 years ago by the Doors and Jim Morrison. Oh, yeah, that's good. Oh, that's good ear stick. Get my ear with your sticky goodness, ear stick. Oh, that's wonderful. You're doing an ear stickingly fantastic job. It gives me the miggities. Which, for those of you who aren't sure what the miggities are, is when you mm, get one of those, like, body shivers, kind of like like you see in a cartoon where they start at the top, they go pew down to the bottom and back to the top again. Like that. I don't like delusions, and I don't like no lies. But brother, I'm feeling like your starry, starry eyes have made me quite credulous, woman, after all. 'Cause I don't like delusions, but lie to me now, Paul. That's Kay's song. It's her country song. Or I don't like delusions because I graduated from DePaul. That would be a good one as well. Her power is divine. I don't know if divinity quite encapsulates the scope and scale of her power. Uh, you know, maybe magical beast, which is above regular, but some distance yet to divine. Perhaps, I don't know, like a big Totoro. You know, that level of magic. Please join Wish Masala Kitchen and Vlogs. No, thank you. You waste life taking shots and always missing. You make a good point there. You may miss all the shots you don't take, but you conserve all the energy that you would have spent taking those shots. And that's something that poster doesn't adequately account for. Makes me strangely sad. You know, I think the idea of inspirational posters or these sort of messages that they want kids to internalize. You know, Keep your feet on the ground, but keep reaching for the stars. Well, you can't really reach for the stars and keep your feet on the ground, even in a metaphorical sense, right? If only TE DOMs can do that, can stay grounded while pursuing large goals, because that's what they're good at. Just get a ladder and drop the ball into the net. Well, I see, that's why I don't shoot. I get you. Don't keep your feet on the ground. And don't reach for stars either. Just determine which stars will fall down if you just poke at them with a stick. Get those stars. There may be some already that have fallen onto the ground. Because what a lot of people don't know is that while stars live billions of years, for however long many years, maybe even a trillion years or something, right? I don't know. But they do eventually die. And there are so many suns in the universe that sometimes, even within a human time frame, a star will die. And a lot of people don't know what happens to them. It's a simple answer. They fall to the ground like ripe fruit. That's our opportunity to eat them. They're a highly prized delicacy in Japan. Careful now, the seeds are poisonous. They're the parts of neutron stars that have too many neutrons in them. So if you don't take those out, you'll take a big bite and you just get like, oh, it's all neutrons. You might think, sounds pretty good. Sounds like nougat. Well, I assure you it doesn't taste like nougat. Your mom tastes a lot like nougat. Let's see here. Virtual food. Would you like me to make you virtual food? What would you like to virtually have? Would you like a virtual sandwich? A virtual omelet? A virtual vichy schwa? Lord have mercy. If that ain't the bishop's biscuits. Okay. Eric, this has been a very devilish couple of days. Like, hey, let's do a bunch of drugs. And that's fine. I'm not critiquing that decision. I'm not saying Eric, you made a poor decision. But, you only have so much gas to dolly gas with, which is to say, I only have a, I only have so much like dopamine to tap, right? So it's important to manage things intelligently. I don't have the same self confidence in all aspects of life, but I trust myself to always relentlessly try. To let myself rambling. Kill the chat. Kill the chat. It's not killing the chat. Instead, it's probably certainly that there's only like two people here. See, I told you. Wait, I'm wrong. There's actually 12 people here. Why? I don't know. You're talking about yourself rambling, Katie. This channel, at least the last couple of streams, but in general, is me carrying on about various things. So, there's nothing implicitly wrong with you carrying on about various things. You just give yourself permission to unapologetically carry on about various things as you deem necessary. And then just trust that you're not going to overdo it. Like, you're not going to carry on beyond acceptabilities. You're not going to be one of those people who, like, posts, like, another thing is because a whole paragraph and carry on forever without being able to shift gears, you know? You shift gears quickly. You are either good at using the shifter on your stick shift car, or your car has a very good automatic shifter because you shift gears quickly. Like 1 minute suicide, the next you're talking dance party, let's go, it's all good. Let's call it quick gear shift. Plus a little bit of, what do they call that? Oh, drifting. You spin your car like that, drifting. You think they just call it sliding, since that's what it is. But instead, they have to give it a cooler name than sliding. If they name it sliding, it would share in common what it is with a slip and slide, which isn't broadly afforded the status of cool. Like, your friends aren't gonna call you up and be like, dude, you gotta come check it out. I got the newest model make, you know, obviously wham, I got the newest model slip and slide. It is so pimpin'. It's got every slip and slide element, like that sliding part, the water, the whole 9 yards. I talk to people when I type. I talk with people when I speak. Well, when do you talk through people? Can you even buy a new car with a manual transmission? I don't know. I guess some makes probably still make them. My car has a stick shift, but it's pretty old. I think it's 2014, 2012, 2013, something like that. Like legit, after a bit, I just hear blah blah. I grow tired of people IRL who talk a lot. Well, for me, it very much depends. I actually don't mind it when people talk a lot. I think I feel something of an introvert's like. I think I get how they feel a little bit. Where I go, okay, good. I don't have to carry anything. I want to just let this person carry things. I can just lay back. K is the perfect type. Showman 3 said don't shatter the illusion. KE said I don't like delusions. Well, let's play. Was it an illusion or a delusion? I guess you can make a case for either. Objection overruled. Why dislike automatics? The man with the great machete says, come to Europe, almost every car here is manual, but if you have enough money, there are always options. Yeah, Lou has a stick shift currently, but it's an '03, so it's 21 years old or something. I mean, there's plenty of cars out there that are older than that. Cars do last quite a long time, depending. My car's, I guess, 10 years old. It's got well over 100,000 miles on it. So far, so good. Fingers crossed. It's only an illusion if I make effort to sustain it. Hmm. I'm not sure about the distinction you're making there, but okay, we'll go with that. I'm kind of moody today. Well, what can I do to cheer you up? Can I sing you a cheerful song? Like, CHERFUL, cheerful. Not TEARFUL, not tearful. What about that song? Does that cheer you up? Does it make you feel? I mean, when we say we're moody, we mean we're experiencing negative feelings, right? Or either like sad, irritable, lonely, dispirited. Depending on your frame of reference, it could include various like self worth, self esteem, self love. That's the third one. Could involve those things. But the idea is that people never go about it's there when they're really having a great day and it's killing it. They're in a super good mood. There's a, I'm so moody right now, and that mood is good. That's obviously not how the word is used. So I'm sorry you're feeling. Fill in your emotion blank here. We need a better taxonomy of emotions, like the bad emotions, the emotions that are always bad, the emotions that are sometimes bad, sometimes, I guess, good, the emotions that are sometimes good and never bad, but sometimes neutral. The emotion, like we need a taxonomy like that of emotions. We need a lot of taxonomies of emotions. We want to try to even begin to grasp them because the problem with them is how are you going to know what they are exactly if you don't have it, if you don't have a map of all the possible ones and how they differ from one another? I mean, that's just good common sense, right? How could you possibly know what a given emotion is unless you have at least a somewhat clear map about what certain kinds of emotions are meow and this and meow and meow, meow. When you try to do that stuff, you just end up with an endless pile of it depenses. So I'm not even sure. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure that like emotions might not even be possible to know what your emotion is exactly. Maybe both impossible and meaningless to distinguish between, say, guilt and contentment. But I don't know if contentment's even emotion. See, this is why somebody needs to do a quick and dirty. Here are all the possible emotions. Here's how they're distinct from each other. And I mean mechanically or something, not just like sad is frown, happy is smile. That's not useful. People have zero lives to talk about. People have zero lives to talk only about others' lives. Um, People think their opinion on your life matters, but it doesn't. Live your own life. I don't know. Oh, well, I was just trying to commiserate with your feeling moody. I'm sorry if I did a poor job of commiserating, or if you didn't want commiseration. I'm not very good at this kind of stuff. All right, what I am good at, one of the things that I've practiced a lot, and over the years I've gotten better and better at it, is smoking. So what I'll do now is go work more in my skill set and strength area and less in this foggy mountain breakdown you call feelings. I wish I hadn't rubbed my eyes so much with cat hair on my hands, because now my eyes are all itchy, like I rolled my eyeballs into some poison oak. Maybe slightly less itchy than that. Just trying to paint a picture of itchiness for you. My eyeballs are as itchy as a man who rolled his eyeballs in poison oak. My eyeballs are as itchy as the eyeballs of a man who rolled his eyeballs in poison oak. And there are ways to get your eyeballs more itchy than that, but you can probably count them on two hands. Like you take a distilled essence distill my essence. Can you please distill it into an essential oil that I can smell during aromatherapy? I think the smell I need to smell during my aromatherapy is essence of Eric. Distillation of essence of Eric. Liquid solution dosages suspended in formaldehyde. That's what I want for Christmas. I wouldn't mind some ether. Yeah. Ether, I wonder if it has the same consequences as nitrous oxide. That's kind of a similar effect. It's not like wah, but you definitely get high from it. Me and my friend John Penny had I guess he got it, a jar of ether from science class or something. We were huffing it in my room, and my mom caught it. Freaked out. Like, what are you doing? What is that? Like, it's ether? It's fine, it's from science class. It would have been funny if we tried to play it off as a homework assignment. No, this is what they told me I had to do in science class. I had to go home and huff ether to experience its effects. I guess ether is probably the stuff that they put on the handkerchief when they put a handkerchief over your face in the movies, and they go, ah. But it would take, you'd have to breathe in a lot of ether to do that. It's not realistic, but I think that's what that stuff is supposed to be. You know, it's like the earliest anesthetic. There. Yeah, well, I went on second. That's why Heroin. Next time I go, I'll show up a little bit later, and I might even show up around the same time, but tell the guy I'd like to go on a little bit later. So, I treated it kind of like a scrimmage, you know. I was planning to whatever. I'm lost. We're talking about emotion. I am lost like Bambi on Tuesday right now. I do know that I have found, I believe, my way to a good idea. And I call that, I'm right here. Eat your fucking food. No. Jesus Christo already, you know? Enough of the constant meows. Now, everybody, let's not all be a fussing and a fighting. Let's be peaceful Paulinas instead. Alright. Here's my big plan of action. Because I am getting tired with a capital T. And I envision myself, in not a super long time, ending this stream, seeing which, if any, cartoons are out today that I want to watch with my viewing eyes. Watch said cartoon for a period of time, at least 22 minutes, possibly more if there's more than one cartoon I want to watch. And I'm waiting until I cannot keep my eyes open any longer, and going to bed and catching between 4,800 and 6,400 Z's. There are between 8 and 1,200 Z's an hour, approximately. A Z represents each time you breathe out. Why do I seem to be unable to make pour coffee into this cup? I'm worrying about my Z's, that's why. Because I need Z's so badly. That has a lot to do with it right there. But accurately assessing things. I'm in a severe Z deficit at the moment. And, you know, your body's like a bank. It doesn't lose track of the fact that you still owe them money, right? The body's the same way. You don't get enough sleep, it doesn't forget about it and just say, alright, never mind. We'll skip those hours that you should have gotten. It says, you will have to have these hours at some point. Preferably sooner rather than later. But regardless, for all the extra hours you're up, you're going to have to sleep that many extra hours on the other side of it. Even if the number of hours is 1 million. Now, obviously, you don't have to earn it all back in one chunk. So, you can sleep 12 hours, be up for 6 hours, sleep another 8 hours, you know, that kind of thing happens plenty, obviously. But, you have to pay it back in full before you can repeat. That's the goal, right? Eat, sleep, rave, repeat. That's how the partier law number 1 goes. So, you might say, aren't you a little bit old to call yourself a partier? You're right, I shouldn't use that. Party enthusiast. Do you even have a partier? Isn't it just you? Yes, me and drugs. Me plus drugs equal party. These parties sometimes get a little crazy. Maybe I put on, it's getting hot in here, so take off all of your clothes. I usually try not to do that unless things are really ramping up, you know. Alright. Now look. Whipped cream cheese is not a cost-effective way to get cream cheese. Let's be honest. If you want to make your cream cheese dollar go as far as it should, you'll get the inconvenient kind of cream cheese, and it's not whipped, and it's like you have to unwrap the silver package, you know? It's like a block of cream cheese. It's called inconvenient cream cheese. Whipped cream cheese, the convenient alternative, is much more expensive in terms of to get like whatever the amount of cream cheese that makes this whipped cream cheese is less total cream cheese than if it weren't whipped, but you pay more for it. But it's worth it because it's vastly more convenient than regular cream cheese. Like, it's like the difference between the internet I had a week ago and the internet I have now. Mmm. I'm so glad I didn't even need to toast it. Although intuitively, it would be better if I did. So, we don't have a toaster, so I'm going to broil it. Mmm. Any of you ever made a London broil? Kind of meat cut, I guess. I remember my mom using the term plenty, but I don't have a clear, like, oh, that's London broil versus some other meat in the crock pot, you know, or whatever. Mmm. Cream cheese is really good. Mmm. Mmm. Cream cheese is kind of like how, it's kind of like if cheese and sour cream had a baby. But instead of being gross, it was delicious. Mm. Cream cheese is one of maybe the most delicious things we don't get. Maybe we're going to start getting it. The thing is, the problem with getting cream cheese, of course, is it only really has one use and purpose, and that's to put on bagels. So then we get in the vicious bagel cream cheese cycle. Well, I have all this cream cheese left, but I'm running out of bagels. I'll get more bagels. Now I have bagels left, but I'm out of cream cheese. I guess I'll get more cream cheese. Or to get more bagels too, because I don't want this to happen again. Wait a second. Again? How did it end up that now I've got an extra package of bagels and almost no cream cheese? It's a dangerous path to walk down. Getting cream cheese and bagels, you know. Before you know it, you're gonna have 3 expired things of cream cheese in the fridge. 2 of them open, one of them you never even opened, and you now are holding the new cream cheese that you got at the store. Only to realize, oh, I forgot to get bagels. These are what I like to call true stories from the grocery aisle. That'd be a good series. True stories from the grocery aisle. It's just true stories about the struggles you have with various kinds of products because of what they are, you know. such as beef broth. The problem with it is, yes, you already have it, but you're not sure if you have enough of it. And so you get an extra one. Unfortunately, you did the same thing the last time and the time before. So now you've got like 5 extra cans of it. True stories from the grocery aisle. The very similar thing happens with, of course, dip. We need to get some dip for the chips. Well, which kinds do we need? Well, I'm not exactly sure. We have some of them left. I'm not sure what. Well, let's just get one of each of them. Let's get one French onion dip and one ranch and one salsa. Well, turns out the only one we're running low on, or we're out of, was the onion dip, of course. Now we have 3 jars of ranch, which gets used the least. Again, 2 of them open. True tales of horror from the grocery store, from the grocery aisle. Where kitchen meets aisle. That would be a good name for it too. True stories from the grocery aisle. Last time, you got pickles, and you really loved them. And you and Rachel burned through the jar in like one day. This time, you're smart. You get 2 jars of pickles. Then you proceed to not eat a single pickle for months until you no longer think the pickles are fresh enough to eat. And you throw them away. Touché, grocery aisle. You got me again. I apparently have not yet learned that I cannot trust myself to want to eat what I ate last time if it's perishable. Knowing something is perishable is contraindicative of me prioritizing eating it. Because knowing this perishable means I know I should prioritize eating it. That makes me not want it. I keep putting it off, like, oh, I'll eat that next time. So buying perishable stuff is a very touch and go proposition for me. Ideally, everything's either in a can or frozen or dried, so that if I don't get around to eating it for a couple of months, it's fine. Does Eric realize we can't really hear him and that no one's actually following what he's saying? No, I did not realize that you couldn't hear me. That nobody is actually following what I'm saying. Well, maybe if one were in a quiet environment and paying close attention, one might be able to do so. I'd agree that I'm speaking quietly. That's because I don't want to bother Rachel. She's sleeping, and I kind of got in trouble for being loud last night. Point is, Katie, obviously, I'm not going to do your work for you. All I can do is let the genius flow from me. And if you aren't opportunistic enough to seize upon that moment and claim for yourself the wisdoms provided by my words, well, Katie, don't blame me when one day it costs you and you say to yourself, K.E., why, oh, why didn't you listen to Eric? Just remember that inevitability and perhaps think twice about your current level of rebellion. Remember what happened to the South when they rebelled? I'll tell you what happened to them. They had their slavery taken away as a punishment. Is that what you want to have happen to you? Yeah, I guess Bill Cosby comedy routines probably don't get a lot of views anymore. Or maybe they get a lot of views, but a lot of like hate comments or something. I don't really remember any of his comedy routines as, I guess, worth remembering or something. I just remember him with the Jello. Yeah, that shit. So I remember like Fat Albert. a cartoon. He did voices of maybe all, but definitely some of the characters. But people for some reason objected to his habit of drugging women unconscious so he could rape them. And they said, "Hey, Bill Cosby, we'd really prefer you not do that." Well, Bill Cosby, unfortunately for you, is he dead now? Is he still alive? Is he in jail, but alive? I'm curious because I know he wasn't in good health when his whole court thing happened. He was presumably headed to jail for the rest of his life. But I don't know. Maybe prison suits him and he finds himself healthier and happier than he's ever been. Maybe even his eyesight's returned to him thanks to the curative properties of prison. They should put him and Danny Masterson in the same cell. And say, "Here, we're going to give each of you one roofie. Let's see how this plays out." Dan Masterson's like, "Fantastic, he's blind. He won't be able to pick me out of the lineup." Oh, that's right, his eyesight returned in prison. I forgot. He's 86, not dead yet. Even then, there has to be more than just the other for true fulfillment. More than just the other what? Yeah, I mean, if he gave testimony that was under the stipulation of immunity, then he can't be tried for whatever the prosecutor granted immunity for, Why that prosecutor would have granted him immunity regarding a criminal, like a felony rape, is beyond me, but this is the correct legal decision. You predicted David Soul's death a few days before. Who's David Soul? I guess now he's just Soul. Oh, Kitty, you're so silly. Yes, you are. You're an important gentleman whose wonderfulness continues to astonish everyone every day for all time. Pray for me, Lumen. I pray for you. Hassan Lund says, Eric, you're looking presumably pretty broody talking about. Well, I mean, who wouldn't feel broody about the fact that some prosecutor offered him immunity on such a serious charge for testimony related to God knows what? That's a serious prosecutorial failure, you know? I think about as serious as a prosecutorial failure gets. I can't help but feel disillusioned by that. You know, I expect the criminal justice system to attain just outcomes. Accordingly, I acknowledge that that's the correct legal decision, and I place blame accordingly on whoever the fucking prosecutor was who would offer him immunity for such a serious charge. Like, the only conceivable world in which that immunity makes sense is if he's offering testimony that brings down an international human trafficking ring or something. Well, apparently, he preferred non consensual ones. So, you know, obviously, fuck off to him with all the world's middle fingers. And fuck off to the prosecutor with the rest of the world's middle fingers. But, you know, I'm not going to brood long over spilt milk in the judiciary. It's like all they do is fucking spill milk. They think milk is to be spilled, apparently, based on the frequency with which they spill it. I would assume that must be what they think. That's why they're handed a glass of milk in the first place, to get it all over everything. Host Eric, what time did your brisket go in the crock pot? Oh, it's done. It's been done. We've been eating it. I just turned it back on to heat it up. Was he someone like you growing up? Who? Was who someone like me? I find days go so quick at present. What does that mean? It means you're getting older. The older you get, the faster time seems to pass. The other possible answer to it is it means you're very busy and scrambling to kind of keep up with all the shit you got to deal with. That makes time pass quickly. Like when I used to work at the deli, time always flew during the lunch rush where I just kept busy the whole time. But then In the afternoons when I got slow, and you're supposed to like sweep and stuff, time super dragged. Well, sexual attraction and Bill Cosby's behavior don't belong in the same sentence, frankly. Uh, well, no, the title here, Winston's Bomb, refers specifically to Leo of actualized.org. Can be summed up as 90% build up, 10% let down. No, there's no climax at all. It's just build up and let down. Perhaps that you are engaged with things or sleeping a lot. I'm not sleeping a lot. I'm sure it's not directed at me, but thought I'd chime in on that. Oh, Bill Cosby was someone I liked growing up. Not really. I did like comedians of that era, but he wasn't one that struck my fancy. My favorite by far was Steve Martin. That's who you're asking about. I got you now, Hassan. Like I didn't like Fat Albert. I respect it more now than I ever liked it as a kid. I don't like it now and everything, but it's kind of interesting art if you look at it as an adult. Uh, I hated as I got older all the shit he did, like kids say the darndest things. Oh my god, I always found that completely unbearable. You know, I'm familiar with him from some of his comedy stuff, which was mostly like kind of shit. And no, I did watch the Cosby Show when that was in prime time. I don't remember it very well. I know I didn't like it as much as other primetime ones that I watched. It was just good enough for me to watch it. Like the ones I liked a lot were, I don't know if these were contemporaneous exactly, but say like Mr. Belvedere, um, Family Ties until it got all serious. Uh, Three's Company, I liked a lot. I thought Three's Company was hilarious. When Three's Company first came out, I thought this has to be the funniest thing ever. What about George Carlin? I liked him as a kid for a stretch, but he grated on me pretty quick, I guess. Where has Eric been? Starsky and Hutch actor. Oh, well, wherever I've been, obviously they haven't been playing a lot of Starsky and Hutch on the TV. What we perceive is in the mind of the other is key. Key to what? Oh yeah, I liked Laverne and Shirley a lot, for sure. I also loved reruns of what was that detective one? Get Smart. I thought that was fantastic. Obviously, I loved Gilligan's Island. Also, these things were in reruns, you know. I wasn't that enamored of Brady Bunch, which was another thing that was regularly on TV in the mornings on reruns. I loved Land of the Lost, though it didn't make that much of it, you know. I liked Twilight Zone. Yeah, I liked Golden Girls for sure. I missed a lot of cultural things because I don't know the name of the actor in Starsky and Hutch. Okay, I think you're probably drawing a bit too broad a conclusion from a bit too minute a data source, but you do you. Meanwhile, I will do urine. You do you. For me, U is for urine. T. T is for toilet, upon which I sit. U is for urine. Now that is it. The thing that I do when I'm sitting here now. Pee in the toilet like a cow. The childhood rhyme to help children learn their alphabet and stuff. Because I like to provide curricular materials at all times, even when sitting on the toilet. Oh, sweet urine release party. This track is dropping right now, and it is hitting hard. It slaps. Oh, a lot of celebrities are hobnobbing at this urine release party. Oh, yeah. I'm dropping the pool off at the pool. Oh, that's some juicy, juicy, juicy urine. It has a percentage of juice in it, and the percentage is 100%. Pure, unadulterated urine, straight from the tap. Oh, Mr. Trouble Bubble, are you a very silly boy? Yes, and Daddy knows, and he loves, if he uses his emotion heart to experience feelings of affection and attachment to you, his cat. Who's usually a dick, and when he's not, he's a pain in the ass. Well, let me just preempt your current line of reasoning by telling you, no, I don't want to watch you eat. Love a good hallway. Hi, Taylor. How are you? So nice to see you. Well, fortunately, Cone Man 3, when it comes to music, the pertinent metric is quality, not quantity. So keep that in mind. Yeah, that toilet's got a powerful flush. I agree. Music theory is boring. Um, for those who haven't heard, we have lived here for over 1 year now, and in that entire year, with both Rachel and I living here, plus having visitors on multiple occasions, how many times have I had to use a plunger? How many times has there been a clogged toilet? 0 times. 0 times. In an entire year of people shitting in all three toilets. I mean, that's some impressive toilets. Because here in California, it's extremely rare. So if let's say I've been up all night, didn't sleep at all last night. I got a little indulgent, maybe, with my medication, and also I took mushrooms, and a couple of other things, little things. So I am kind of at the end of my energetic expression of live streaming. I'm a little spent, feeling a little tore up, perhaps. But also kind of rejuvenated by those couple of bong rips with Adderall on that I just took. A little rejuvenated. As though I've had my entire Juven redone. Yeah. I'm high on life, Taylor. But that's probably not the thing I'm high on that's keeping me awake. Yeah, Felicity, what do you think about Mike Hart? Do I have any criticism of Nietzsche's views? Criticism of his personal criticism? Well, I mean, I think Nietzsche talked a lot in metaphor. He wasn't trying to make TI rigorous philosophy. You've told him you're sus of his type. Yeah, sus is a very generous term for my perspective on his type. Also, like, what is up with it? I don't know if you have any knowledge of this. You might have some knowledge about it, Taylor, but like, he keeps putting these community posts up where he's clearly talking about me, but he never names me, right? And he just sort of plays pusillanimous Percy picnics at the pussy patch. But I make a video saying, Mike Hart, listen now. This is clearly directed at me. Your thinly veiled attack is everything you constantly rant about other people doing wrong, exemplified and magnified by 10. That level of hypocrisy is kind of stunning. So I don't know what's going on with that, but first, last, hello, good morning, and night to you. Leather's hard to cut because you're trying to karate chop it here, Lamb. You need to use a knife of some sort. I need to use a knife to cut off this stream and go to bed. I am as tired as a man who's not gotten any sleep and is also extra tired for unstated reasons. So that's pretty full blast tired. I'm considering one of two possibilities. Possibility one, end the stream and go to bed. Possibility two, don't end the stream and go to bed and tell a bedtime story until I put myself to sleep. And then, as I'm falling asleep, I'll go, okay, I gotta turn this off now. And then go to sleep. I might do that. So if in fact you would like to be told a bedtime story, please feel free to offer up elements you'd like to see in the story. Perhaps you're an aficionado of historical romance. Perhaps you'd like to see just a whisper of Wuthering Heights in the story. Maybe I'll include it, maybe I won't, but if you don't let me know, then I definitely, you're going to miss all the shots you don't take. Where did oh, there it is. Probably one of my top 10 things I say. Where's my, oh, there it is. Dragons and magical things. Okay, cool. Well, kind of a no-brainer. After my extensive study of Jordan Peterson, I've learned the critical element of every story is that there be a dragon to be slain. Rachel and I were discussing last night how swords get a raw deal in the tarot deck. Like, there are very few cups cards that are bad, right? But there are very few swords cards that are good. That seems unfair to swords to me. Does it not also seem unfair to swords to you? Like, think about that deck, right? That renames the things. Cups are called visions, and swords are called challenges. Visions are great. You have clarity about the truth, right? Challenges are just problems dressed up as a more neutral word. So I really think that swords get a raw deal in the tarot deck. But at least that deck that renames them acknowledges the raw deal that swords get with its renaming. It's not wrong to call them that based on the fact that swords has mostly bad cards. See, because I tend to think of swords as TI, cups as FI / some FE, rods is TE and FE, and pentacles as SE / SI. NE and NI are more represented by the major arcana. You could toss some NE into the rods. You could toss a little NI maybe into the pentacles. I don't know. But the N seem more represented by the major arcana to me. So I think swords being bad is an attack on TI. Ola, how you doing? I am doing so well. Ola, how you doing? You're doing well as well. Samola Afridi. You tend to think of swords as either TE or TI, depending on the card. Fair enough. What do you think are TE cards? I think Seven of Swords is TI's take on TE. What do you think about that? What do you think about that idea? I think that's a good idea. That's why I'm asking you what you think about it. If I thought it was a bad idea, I probably wouldn't bother asking you what you think about it. I just assume that you also think it's a bad idea. Is Eric a Democrat? No. Nor am I a Republican. Like, why isn't the Three of Swords in cups where it belongs, right? Heartbreak is an emotion. How dare they make T responsible for heartbreak? So, yeah, okay. Well, let's head to bed, and we're going to begin our bedtime story. It's going to include dragons, magical things. If there's anybody else who wants to chime in on elements they'd like to have in the story, please do so. The sad feeling of wanting to argue but not knowing enough about tarot. You just want to say Mayan Shanktopus. Okay. We'll definitely have to include Mayan Shanktopus in the story, okay? That's a very good suggestion. I'd forgotten all about Mayan Shanktopus. I'm glad someone's paying attention around here and keeping track of important people like Mayan Shanktopus. Might just be absolute tragedy. We lost track of him. The eternal question, warm or low? I guess I'll put it on warm. You go ahead and start eating, but I'm not standing in here. Okay, I will give you like 3 pets. 1 pet. 2 pets. 3 pets. 4. And why am I not standing in here? Because you also have food over there. I was sitting down over there for a long time. You could have eaten that food at any time. So don't get all whiny, complains a lot with me, Mr. Kitty. Your whiny ways. And $2.50 will get you on the Metro bus. Okay. let's see who's all here. Lou, Hero Lamb, First Last, Winston's mom, Ruben R, Elaine. Good enough. Lou, Elaine, Ruben R, Winston's mom, Hero Lamb, First Last, Lou, Ruben R, Winston's mom, Hero Lamb, First Last, Elaine. That's what I'm forgetting about. She's here as well. Okay. So let's get comfortable. Let's get cozy. Let's drop the phone. That's no fun. Okay, before I begin the story, give me 1 second to look at this text. Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, I'll have to deal with this later, right? I'm not going to deal with it right now. I'm not sure what's going on, but it'll wait till after my bedtime story and my note. Some thing with the real estate thing. So anyway, not a big deal. Let's begin our story. Our story begins on one January day, very much like today, but not today. And our setting is the home of Elaine. She wakes up on this day anticipating it's going to be like any other day she ever wakes up. But unbeknownst to her, she had left U2 on autoplay while she was sleeping, and it had played a whole series of Jordan Peterson videos. When she awoke, she had this indescribable but irrepressible urge to find a dragon to slay. And she didn't want to slay a metaphorical dragon. She started putting together plans to find a zoo that had one and kill a Komodo dragon. Ultimately, she hoped to kill it with her bare hands by strangling it to death. So she started doing a lot of hand exercises with those squeezer things, you know. And one day I was streaming and she came on and she mentioned that she thought her hands were too weak. So Winston's mom chimed in. And she had an excellent solution for hand strengthening exercises. And naturally, Elaine said, well, what is the exercise? And Winston's mom said, well, what you want to do is get your hands stronger by strangling Komodo dragons. Elaine, of course, said, oh, well, unfortunately, my hands aren't currently strong enough to even strangle a Komodo dragon. That's why I want to get them stronger. So I'm like below the level that you're thinking I'm at, basically. So Winston's mom said, well, I have another idea. But it's not really my idea. It's Hero Lamb's idea. He told me what it was. I remember that it's a really good idea, but I left it at his house. So what I want to recommend is that the three of us meet up at Hero Lamb's house and we discuss this idea that I have for you for hand strengthening so that very soon, rather than a long time from now, you'll successfully be able to strangle a Komodo dragon. So the three of them do meet up, but Hero Lamb has lost the piece of paper upon which this alternate idea was written. While lamenting this reality in the chat on the stream, Lou chimed in and said, "Look, guys, you need to come to Portland right now because I just recently, synchronicity, read an ancient text that traces back to the Gnostics as well as to the what are those Catholics called? Um, well, the Order of the Virgin Mary's Saint Aquinas, I believe is what they're called. Anyway, she's reading some ancient texts, and she had just read something that said how to summon a dragon of one of several types, including a green dragon, a red dragon, and a blue dragon. Blue dragon naturally breathes ice. Red dragon naturally breathes fire. And a green dragon, of course, breathes plants. So Lou intimated this profound discovery she'd made, but didn't want to spell it out in the live chat because she didn't want to get a bunch of hangers on showing up, trying to hooge in on the dragon meat opportunity that she had specially, she discovered thanks to her intensive research and was reserving for a special occasion. So then she just said to him, like, okay, let's meet in a video conference. And she gathered it together Winston's mom, Hero Lamb, and Elaine and said, and articulated what she had discovered about the dragon summoning ritual. Naturally, Hero Lamb had some questions. Well, what kind of materials do we need to summon a dragon? And Lou explained that it varied depending on which color of dragon. But one thing that each dragon summoning required was the still beating heart of a baby lamb, a kid, as they're called, So everybody kind of took a moment and said, so we're going to have to kill a baby lamb? And Lou, her eyes kind of watered and she said, guys, Elaine, she took Elaine's hand. I never said this was going to be easy. Obviously, we're all going to be deeply traumatized by killing a baby lamb and cutting out its still beating heart. But if you want to summon a dragon, and I understand why you do, you need to slay one. And otherwise, what's the point of even getting out of bed? First of all, probably your room's not clean enough either. But we don't have the solution to that right in front of us. What we do have the solution to is we can get this dragon slaying done and crossed off the list. So Elaine's like, look, I know to move forward beyond this moment, this time in my life, I have to prove to myself that I can do it, that I can cross the goal line, I can achieve my goal, that I can slay a dragon. And unfortunately, I have to acknowledge that I'm not super good at fighting things. That would include even just people. Dragons, I stand naturally even less of a chance against, you know. But I like this summoning idea because if you summon the dragon right now, it'll be disoriented when it arrives. I can kill it before it even realizes that it's in trouble. I just need uh, a sturdy lance with a long point on it, and we're good to go. And Lou said, well, listen, I need you to chickadee check yourself before you riggedy wreck yourself. And I said, why? And Lou said, well, because before I can tell you the answer to that, we're going to need to talk to Ruben. And everybody said, Ruben? I thought we were purposefully keeping this from him. You know how he is about spreading rumors and gossiping. He's an FE Dom. That's what they do. Everybody said in unison. But then, finally, Elaine chimed in. Look, guys, first of all, I think you're being a little harsh on Ruben. Okay? He's a very insightful guy, I'm sure. Indeed, whatever he has to say about this is going to be important. And second of all, aren't really we the ones who are gossiping right now about him? And then everybody looked all abashed around the table. And Lou's eyes got all watery and she said, you guys, like that. And everybody grasped hands. They said, let's do it. Let's trust Ruben. Let's make a leap of faith. So they called Ruben and everyone said, yeah, come on down to San Antonio. You can stay at my house for a few days. I get it. We got a conference about this. This is challenging. Well, it turned out that one of the ingredients that was necessary for the dragon summoning was water from the Riverwalk River in San Antonio. So after they all realized that was the only thing they needed from San Antonio, they all got back on the plane, this time including Ruben, who was the only one who's allowed to carry San Antonian water onto the plane because of rules they have in San Antonio about that, regarding who's allowed to take water from the Riverwalk onto the plane. Because they didn't have strict rules about that. The Riverwalk would be completely dry because everybody who visited from out of town would take gallons and gallons of that water away. A lot of people believe it has magical curative properties. And other people understand that its incredible curative properties are just the results of science. Anyhow, so Rowan boarded the plane with his acceptable allotment of Riverwalk water, which is about one water's bottle for worth. And Lou crinkled her forehead and shook her head and fretted, I just hope that's enough. And finally, they got off the plane to Portland. And, you know, some people got kind of aggressive with them because Portlanders can be a little, prickly. So, anyhow, Ruben smoothed things over. And he had rented a minivan, so they had to stay at the Avis counter for quite some time. And Lou said, why don't we just take my car back to my house? I parked it here in long-term parking. And everyone's like, because your car's an '03 and like 3 of your 4 seats are filled up with stuff you put on them. So obviously I rented a minivan, thought Ruben, but he said, I would so much prefer to go in your car. But unfortunately, I rented a minivan. They won't let me back out of it now. So anyway, everybody but Lou piled into the minivan, and they were all driving back to Lou's house. And uh, the radio was playing in the minivan on a local news radio station. And people were sort of passively listening until, Elaine heard something and said, wait, 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 turn this up. And Winston's mom's like, is that about? And the broadcast said, breaking news. Mayan Shanktopus was spotted today prowling in a neighborhood of upper lower east west Manhattan. How concerned should New Yorkers be? Well, obviously, Ruben, who was driving, was so stunned to realize that his old nemesis, Mayan Shanktopus, had been, I guess, released from the Supermax prison. That's what he thought. That he screeched to a halt with his brakes, even though there was no reason to stop, and he got rear ended. Unfortunately, Hero Lamb did not have a seatbelt on and flew forward uh, directly into the back of Winston's mom's chair. And he actually bruised his chin, a pretty good sized bruise on it. And everyone was like, are you okay? Are you okay? Did you get whiplash? And he said, kind of a witty, snappy fashion, only my pride. And everyone offered a forced pity laugh. And Hero Lamb sighed heavily, feeling a spate of brooding coming on, a spate of reflection, of musing, a spate, if you will, of angst. So everybody sat in the car for a while and just agreed to observe Hero Lamb's angst and take notes. Winston's mom offered some helpful links that Hero Lamb might find useful in solving any of the problems he articulated that may have been linked to his bruised chin or his bruised ego. But then Elaine said, guys, I hate to tell you this. Got some bad news. My water broke. And of course, Hero Lamb, Winston's mom, Ruben, first to last, who appeared at some point, just was like, prior to that, he hadn't been there. Then he was there for a couple of days until finally Elaine's like, have you always been here? Anyway, Elaine said, oh my God, my water's broke. And everyone said, Elaine, why didn't you tell us you were pregnant? Because I didn't want you making special accommodations for me, anything like that. You told us that you had an eating disorder, and that's why you got so much fatter all of a sudden. Well, a little white lie. It wasn't a white lie. Everybody was very worried for you. Every time you had donuts or whatever in the break room, we'd all be like, oh, this poor woman. She really does have an eating disorder. Look how much weight she's gained over the past few months. Oh, to think how much she put on, she must be eating a lot more at home than she is even here at the office. In recent weeks, Dan and I talked to a couple of professionals about if there was anything we could do. And now we find out you were pregnant the whole time? And Elaine says, yeah, well, I'm not sure it's mine, though. So, anyway, everyone agrees to go get Elaine's baby maternity tested to find out who the real mother is. And, there were some hard questions asked before the results of that test came back. If she is the mother, who is the father? And a lot of whispering lips were saying the name First Last. Maybe they had been spotted together playing bowlings at the bowling yard. Maybe they had gone to the swinging cages before to play batted balls. It's hard to say. But what is clear to say is that everyone was surprised that Elaine was pregnant and that neither First Last nor Elaine was willing to quote unquote kiss and tell. They were both completely mum about the topic, which was ultra suspicious. And so everyone assumed First Last was the father. But what happened, then the maternity test came back. And it turned out that Elaine was not actually the mother. So it didn't matter anymore who the father was, but because it definitely wasn't somebody Elaine had or maybe had or rumored to be sleeping with. Since the mother was actually some lady from Des Moines, they just shipped the baby off to her using FedEx overnight, and they moved on from that point. But one thing they were able to do because of this fortunate childbirth is they were able to use the placenta or afterbirth in the dragon summoning ritual. Another key ingredient in summoning a dragon. So, they had the Riverwalk water. At this point, they had the placenta. They had purchased a baby sheep, but, they had to save that for last because they needed to prevent still beating hearts. And then there was one thing that Lou had not figured out how she was going to get around. There was a stipulation in the summoning ritual that required that still beating heart to be sacrificed Mayan style with 124 obsidian knives stabbing the heart concurrently. And, everyone stood around glum when they realized this. How are we going to do this? There's no way the 5 or 6 of us are going to have adequate arms to stab that sheep heart. And then Lou reached out, grabbed Ruben arm by the arm, and said, "Hold on, something's something here is triggering something." And Ruben said, "Damn it, Lou, you're a genius." And at that moment, everybody at the table all looked at each other and said in unison, "Mayan Shanktopus." What a fortunate coincidence that he had just recently gotten out of Supermax prison. It's not clear whether he was released on good behavior, whether he bribed the warden, whether he escaped. All the news reports were giving conflicting information on it. And it would appear that none of the media sources could really be trusted in full regarding the matter. So, accordingly, it was going to be tough for our group of heroes to track him down. But they all sat down together and said the following thing. Look, Hero Lamb, they all said to Hero Lamb, you call Eric and ask him what we should do. We have reached a complete dead end. All of our collective wisdom, insight, brilliance, whatever, is woefully inadequate for figuring out the toughest component of this mystery, namely, where is Mind Shanktopus? So, after some more dithering back and forth, Hero Lamb calls me up and answers the phone, hello. And he's like, okay, this is going to sound like a weird question. And I interrupted him. I said, well, you want to know where Mind Shanktopus is, right? Hero Lamb said, how did you know? I just smiled and gave him one of those times. I said, intuition. Wow, said Hero Lamb. And I said, yep. Well, I just, I put two and two together. It was pretty straightforward. It was like this dragon rich summoning ritual, 128 concurrent obsidian stabs. And, oh, wait, who's that guy whose trademark is to hold 128 obsidian knives in each of his tentacled arms? Mind Shanktopus, obviously. So the thing is, the question that they asked me, it answers itself. Where is Mind Shanktopus? Well, just think of the two things. What do the two parts of the name tell you? Pyramids that are more squarish than Egypt pyramids, and the ocean. So all you need to do is find the pyramid under the ocean, and that's where Shanktopus is hiding out. So everyone said, okay, talk to you later, Eric. Bye, thank you. I said, goodbye. Thank you for calling for my advice. And then our gang of intrepid heroes went to get a boat. And they all got on the boat and they started floating around the ocean. And Ruben said, quick, everybody, use one of these spy glasses I brought. These are in and out of water spy glasses. You can see long distances under the water, but if you bring it out of the water, you can still see things on top of the water. So they're pretty good spy glasses. And everyone was like, yeah, cool, I'll take a spy glass. And then everybody moved to different side places in the boat, right? So first last was in one middle spot, Lou was in another middle spot. Winston's mom was actually not rowing, she was the one who stood in the front and said, row, 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 like that. Anyway, there's a seating arrangement, is my point. And so finally, at long last, what happened? Well, I started falling asleep a little bit. I forgot kind of what I was talking about. Anyway, so basically what happens is Lou and everybody used all the ingredients they had to summon a dragon. And it's a red dragon. And as soon as it gets summoned, it starts to breathe in. It's going to breathe out a big cloud of fire. It's going to burn everybody. So Elaine, she runs at the dragon as hard as she can with her big lance to stab it in the neck. But instead of poking very deeply into the dragon, He just barely poked into it at all, because dragons are tougher than Elaine anticipated. And the dragon is huffing and puffing is going to blow fire your house down. And then everyone says, "Oh no, are we going to die?" And Elaine says, "Well, 1 second." She waits, then points behind her, and right on cue, the dragon falls to the ground dead. Everyone's amazed. "How did you do that?" She said, "I coated my lance with cyanide." Everyone gave her a round of applause, and everything from that day forward worked out perfectly for Elaine forevermore because she successfully attained Jordan Peterson's actualization unlock, the slaying of a dragon. So, friends, as we part ways today, let me remind you, for every person, there's a dragon to slay. For you, maybe your dragon is social anxiety. Maybe your dragon is alcoholism. Maybe your dragon is dragons. And maybe your dragon is goals. Whatever it is, it's bad. And your job is to kill it. So goodbye, good night, and good luck in all your dragon killing ways.